Oxford from the inside. The good, the bad, but always the truth.
Um, so going back to life at Oxford, studying ECM, I was wondering if you could both talk to me about the college versus department life. Um, if you could take the lead on that, Maddie.
Yeah, so I'd say it's definitely more of a departmental feel. You spend a lot of time with your course, and there's definitely the space to get into college life way more. I personally didn't, and I don't know if I regret that. But I kind of more focused on the course, and especially in that first term, like I said, I kind of panicked at the beginning coming in with no economic or physics background, and so I say that I spent the first term really focusing on that, which again I don't know if I regret because it paid off in the end. And I think it was a good thing for me to have done, but I wish somebody had been like, you need to chill out. So yeah, I'd say it for me personally, it was much more kind of departmental feel. Sophia may have had a different experience.
Yeah. I mean, as a master's student, you're much more affiliated with the department and you have all these peers, etc. But I think what's so great about Oxford is that you have all of these networks, including your college. And I was fortunate in that I was much more kind of involved with Brasenose and what was happening there. I was also on the badminton team with Siam here. So it was a great way to meet people, kind of get out of the post-grad bubble, meet undergrads, see different like ways of Oxford life. And I think as a master's student, you're well positioned to kind of get a taste for everything.
Nice. Wow. And moving on, but I was just wondering about the course, because you, I guess, imagine part of the ECM course, you're learning about like environmental destruction, etc., and that these things aren't like too positive sometimes. How did like how would that like affect your guys' mental health and etc.? If you want to take the lead on that, Sophia.
That's a great question. I don't know. I feel like Maddie kind of answered this before. It's like it's very easy to burn out. It's very easy to feel pessimistic, and you just have to keep chugging along, I think. I don't know.
Yeah. And I think our course were great at kind of when we met up outside of class, like we didn't just talk about the environment. Like everyone has loads of other interests that aren't like just a course or whatever. So yeah, I think that's a really important thing, like having things that you can go and do that are just totally unrelated. Yeah.
And I think what's great, oh sorry,
No, you first.
Yeah, I think what's amazing about the ECM program is that you create this network of peers in your cohort that you find kind of emotional stability in, or like mental strength in, because you know you're not alone. You know you're with those 34 other people, you know, that you guys are friends, you guys can rely on each other. If you need help with anything, they're there. So I think that's amazing as well.
Nice.
Yeah, I think for me that's like highlighted at the end. We had a take-home exam and I got through it simply because of like the people, my friends on the course around me, and it's like the only way that I got through it was I think 72 hours or something, and Sophia was a huge help during that time. And I think that like really highlighted it, that we were all kind of in it together, and not just because it was an exam, but it was because it was something that I really struggled with. It was a quant exam. Sophia knew that I'd never done anything like that before, and so it was just, for me, that was a real kind of like highlight of support and how much we were a kind of network, I guess.
Wow. I can definitely relate that. I can definitely relate that. From doing my undergrads, that I do have a different kind of, and I guess in some way deeper relationship with my peers who do chemistry compared to other people, because when the going gets tough, we've gone through the grinds together. Like we've both looked through the same questions and had that feeling of what is going on, or like sitting next to each other in the lecture and having that unanimous feeling that everything is going over your head, and yeah,
honestly. Yeah. We were actually like someone was reminiscing, I think, on our group. We still have a group chat with all of us on it, and someone was reminiscing the other day about there was this certain lecture that we used to have, and the lecturer would leave and we'd all sit there and like, anyone know what just happened in that 2 hours? Anyone help?
Yeah, that's the classic. But yeah, it was pretty. Yeah, but also great that you don't get that you both didn't go through it alone. Yeah, I know it's by far the key thing to take. Just wondering. I remember I was meaning to ask. How is it that you did two undergrad degrees, Sophia? Can you
Oh
explain?
yeah, I was just in this dual BA program. So I spent 2 years at a university called Sciences Po, and I spent 2 years at Columbia University. So in 4 years, I got 2 degrees.
How? Wow, I've never heard of that before. Two.
She's an overachiever.
That is that's quite amazing. You spent 2 years at Sciences Po and 2 years at Columbia, and then did your masters at Oxford. That's how does one how do you get into that? Like, where did you
Yeah,
hear?
you just apply for, it's called the dual BA program for the high schoolers out there listening. It's really cool. It's transatlantic. You can kind of decide your specialization. And when I did the program 2013, it was in maybe the second or third year of its inception, so I didn't hear about it. I thought it was like a scam, but it's real. It's fun.
Nice. Wow. Yes, and like dual BA program, just for anyone
Dual
listening.
BA, yeah, dual
Nice.
BA.
And I assume you did. Did you do a joint honors, Maddie, or was it like the one degree, or?
Yeah, one degree for me. Yeah.
And
It was anthropology and sociology, like combined. It basically kind of was split half and half throughout the 3 years. But yeah, the one undergrad for me.
And I was wondering, just for anyone who's listening, can you explain a bit about what anthropology and sociology is?
Yeah, so traditionally anthropology is kind of looking at past cultures, and it's quite grounded in history. I did social anthropology, which I think more links with sociology, so it's kind of different kind of mechanisms within society. And it's super, super broad, and again, you can actually do really what interests you. So I did, there's like health modules, there's imprisonment and victimology, criminology comes into it. I did do one environmental one. I did kind of human relationships with animals. I did like loads of random modules that I just thought sounded interesting. And then there's the more sort of like historical ones looking at theorists and social theory like Durkheim and Marxism and etc. etc. So it kind of covers, you can really make it your own. Sorry, that's such a kind of bad explanation, but I kind of left thinking, oh my god, I just did the most random degree, but actually it was super interesting because every module's really different.
Nice.
So
Wow.
Yeah, it covers a lot if you want it to, or you can be super specific and like just do social theory for 3 years. But I decided not to.
I was wondering, with ECM, is there anything that you both wish you'd known before studying the degree, starting with Sophia?
That's a great question. I feel like I knew going in that doing a master's at Oxford, I'd be having a good time. But I didn't realize how much of a good time. And I think I wish I had known that like you have to find a balance between studying and extracurriculars and your social life in order to make the most of it, because at the end of the day, you're learning tools, you're not learning knowledge, I think. Or you are learning knowledge, but it only helps you to a certain extent, because after the exams, you're going to forget it. So
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I think, like I said, I kind of wish somebody had told me to chill out at the beginning. And just because I was worried about having this like lack of knowledge about certain core modules, and then I realized that actually fundamentally it didn't really matter, and like once I got the basics, like I could just build on top of what we were learning. Like I didn't need to push myself into having such a detailed background knowledge that I was trying to fit in alongside what we were learning in class. Like I was doing this in the library. But also I think coming from and I actually didn't discuss this until the second term with our course director when I asked him to be my dissertation supervisor. I wanted to do like quite a qualitative dissertation, and I think I'd been kind of focusing and trying to push myself into writing what I thought the course wanted and what I thought a scientist and like an MSc should write and how their style of writing should be. And I like kind of flunked my first essay, and I was really panicked about it and was like, I have bad imposter syndrome, I shouldn't be on an MSc. But actually he was like, you need to write how you want to write, and you need to write how you've always written, because then you're obviously going to write better. And I wish before somebody had said like, it doesn't matter that you're coming at this with a BA, and it doesn't matter that you don't think of yourself as a scientist, whatever that means. And I think that would have been really helpful for me, because I was really trying to change my way of thinking and my style of writing to fit into what I thought the course wanted. But actually they don't want that. They want you to come at, that's why they've picked such a diverse group of people. They don't want you to like fit into a mold. They want you to do it and think about things in the way that you think about things. And so like ultimately it paid off, and I was really pleased with my dissertation, and I'm glad that I went for what I did. But it took him saying that to me for me to do it and to relax and just really enjoy it. So yeah, I think that would have been good advice early on.
And I feel like also at Oxford, there's so much happening in terms of like jobs you can do. So I was also on the Oxford Development Consultancy while I was on the course. I was also on the badminton team, and I was kind of involved in college, and I was doing a lot of these things. And Maddie was also doing this extracurricular IFSTAL program that was learning about food. So there are different ways, there are different opportunities, and I think it's good to seek them out and really go for it.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm wondering, Sophia, with the undergrads that you did at your two unis, did you have how was your experience like going into ECM and with the past experience that you had from your undergrads? Like, did you have a similar experience as Maddie, or how was it different, etc.?
Yeah, so I think the combination of social sciences and sustainable development really helped me with ECM in that I felt like I had been exposed to everything before. So I think in the beginning I was like, oh, this kind of feels like repetitive of my undergrad degree. I don't know if it's worth the money, like, but I don't know what I'm doing here. But I think as time went on, I realized that the way that they were presenting it and the tools they were giving you are completely different to what you learn in undergrad. In that, yes, you learn facts and you're exposed to things in undergrad, but I think in this MSc, they really teach you how to think. They really kind of expose all of these different elements, all these different systems, and give you the tools and the critical thinking to really think about it. So I feel like I left the MSc a different person, even though ostensibly the modules were very similar.
Wow,
yeah.
nice.
Whereas, yeah, I feel like whereas I was learning things that I'd never ever learned before, so the knowledge and the modules for me, unlike Sophia, were completely different. But I'd say that I am in complete agreement with her in how I felt leaving. It totally changed my way of thinking. I felt really challenged in my way of thinking. It taught me to like not be complacent in how I think about something and always be open to a different opinion and a different way of looking at the same issue. And yeah, I'd say that is one of the key things, to not be complacent and like complicit in my way of thinking about a certain issue.
That's interesting. Sounds like you both like kind of. I'm sure you were beforehand, but like it sounds like the degree teaches like a massive degree of humility, which is to me to me is not what I think of EC. Like I would have thought of ECM, like learning about environmental sciences, but it's interesting to know. Um, so I've got here that you both mentioned before we started the podcast that there's dissertation trials and tribulations, and I was wondering if you could talk about what they are, because I don't know, and I imagine the viewers don't know, and how the exams are structured, etc. If you want to start with Sophia.
Yeah, so I think we covered a lot of the dissertation stuff earlier, but just difficult in choosing a topic, finding a supervisor who will actually listen to you and read your drafts, unlike mine. And yeah, it's kind of hard to, when you care about so many things, it's hard to hone down on what you want to focus on. But I think at the end of the day, it's not about like the perfect project. It's about, what are you interested in, and go for it.
And what you want to spend 3 months doing and reading about. I think
don't procrastinate. That's the thing.
Don't procrastinate. And I would say from personal experience, I'd pick a supervisor that you just really get on with, who gets you, who is gonna like so I actually had 2 supervisors. So I had our course director, who's called Mark Hirons, who's just the best person, and shout out to him. And me and him at the beginning went through and we made like a timeline for me for the next 3 months of like when he wanted my full draft, when he wanted certain chapters, and I basically stuck to them. But it was just really good to have those like structures in place straight away, so I like knew what I needed to do, and it really kept me focused, because finishing exams and then like having fun afterwards, and then sitting down and being like, okay, right, now I need to do my dissertation. It's quite like, you're like, oh my God, 3 months is so long. Like, this is so chill. And then it's actually no time. And then suddenly realizing that my full draft's due in 2 weeks and I've written like 1,000 words or whatever. It's like, okay, right. And then I had a co-supervisor who was called James Painter, and he had a background in media. And so I had him as well, which was really useful to have 2. You don't need to have 2 at all. But for me, it was useful because Mark, I'd pick just because I felt like we really got on, and he kind of got me, and I could like be honest about how I was feeling about things and my topic and stuff. And I knew that he'd guide me, but he wouldn't put me into a box and like tell me what to do.
Nice.
Yeah.
Sorry. Go for it.
Oh, sorry. The second part of your question was also exams.
Yes. Yeah.
So the exams are just kind of quickly pre-COVID. It was structured in 3 days, I think 3 hours each the first 2 days, and then 2 hours the last third day. And basically it kind of follows understanding environmental change, and then understanding environmental management, and then techniques for kind of addressing all of these things. So those were the kind of 3 things, and you just really had to pay attention to lectures, readings, and be able to cite different authors as you make your arguments. Like, they want you to make critical arguments in these exams. It's not about multiple choice. It's not about finding the right answer. You could argue 2 completely wildly different things to the same question and still receive the same mark, the same high mark. So yeah.
And so, I mean, to me at least, sounds like a degree that I would like. That I think I'd make an argument that a degree that leads you to be improves your critical thinking is better than knowledge and knowing being able to do a multiple choice exam. It's a hot take, but we'll see. Did you guys have holidays, and how long were they, and what were they like, and did you stay in Oxford, etc., throughout your master's year, starting with Maddie?
Yeah, so the terms are structured the same as Oxford, so they're 8 weeks. I can't remember how long the holidays are, but in that first Christmas holiday I went to Nepal, which I know doesn't sound that eco. I went trekking in Nepal in the first holiday, and I am so glad I did. I think take full advantage of the holidays, because it just reset. You have 1 essay to do in the Christmas holidays and 1 to do in the Easter also in Easter you have to do your dissertation proposal, I think, or have I made that up? I can't remember. I can't quite remember the timelines. Yeah, so you just have one essay to do in the holidays, but I would fully take advantage of like using them as a holiday and a time to just like take a break and reset. Yeah.
Nice. I think most people's bucket list is to do like Everest base camp. Nice.
Oh, I actually didn't do Everest. I did another one. I did one that is supposedly, it's called Poon Hill. It's supposedly the best sunrise in the whole of Nepal. And we got up there and literally couldn't see Amisha in front of me. It was so foggy. So it was really funny, but it's like kind of the whole point of the trek. So it was like quite disappointing, but also good. Like, yeah, it was funny. So
Nice.
but you have to see the funny side of it when you've just like checked for 4 days to get there.
Yeah. There was one time, me and my friends were on a road trip, and we got to this viewpoint, and there was like a massive sign like you reached the viewpoint, and we took a photo, and it was just pure fog behind us. So yeah,
So sad. Yeah.
can definitely relate. But yeah, you can see the massive smiles, and we definitely saw the funny side of this long journey. Is there how did you guys A, hear of ECM, and B, like come to the conclusion how to come to the conclusion that you'd want to do this as a master's degree? Because I only know about ECM through Sophia, and I know I've heard about chemistry from lots and lots of different people. So like, how did you guys hear about ECM, and what made you choose it? Starting with Sophia.
Yeah, so I like I had said before, I guess in the environmental field, they place a lot of emphasis on postgraduate degrees. So I was looking for kind of a master's program that would be complementary to what I had learned in undergrad and all of these things. I felt like I was lacking kind of technical skills because of my strong social science background. So I was looking for a program that would do that. I think Oxford has a really, really great School of Geography and the Environment. I think ECI is really, really well respected and well known as well. I was deciding between Oxford and a school in the US, which would have been a 2 years kind of master's in environmental management program. But I decided on Oxford just because I knew it would be a better balance. And it just seemed more exciting to me.
Nice. And what about you, Maddie?
Yeah, mine came from, so I didn't feel that supported at my undergrad uni, and I knew that I wanted to go into the environmental field, and I just didn't know where to start. And the careers department was so kind of like, oh, you can do a grad scheme at like basically a big firm and do CSR, and I was like, I don't think that's really what I want to do. And so mine was purely like self-research, and I realized through my research the emphasis that Sophia is talking about of like the environmental field placing emphasis on postgraduate degrees, because I didn't know that. And so then like through that research I figured out, okay, postgrad. And I'd never thought about a master's until that point. It was like it was my first term of third year of my undergrad, and I decided that this is what I needed to do. And then again, it was just through research of masters in the UK. I like just started with the UK, and then I didn't actually look internationally once I'd kind of found ECM. I also applied for UCL and LSE actually. I can't remember what the courses were called there. So I did 3 applications, all in my first term of third year. And so I kind of came to it about quite a roundabout way.
Nice. I was wondering also, question that just came to my head. Do you get much funding to do a master's degree? And I was wondering, could you answer this from like the international student perspective, student from the UK, and is there anything specific about Oxford that does Oxford give you money that maybe another university might not, or like does Oxford have its own schemes? So from the international perspective, I was wondering if you could start, Sophia.
Yeah, there were quite a few people in our course who were kind of fully funded or had partial funding, which was amazing. I think ECM does a really, really good job of matching students to funding, or students applying to funding and then being put in the program just because of the nature of the course. So I think there is a lot of potential for international students. Like we had, I know, let's see, maybe like, I can't put a number. But yeah, there are opportunities. I think it's pretty accessible online. I unfortunately didn't have any funding, RIP. That's okay. That's okay. Yeah.
And what about you, Maddie?
Yeah, I didn't either. So because I hadn't finished my undergrad, and I can't remember if it was like this for you as well, Sophia, I had a conditional offer of my final grades from Exeter. And so I had my place essentially, but then I was trying to get the grades that I needed. And so I actually missed quite a few, like doors were closed from funding applications. So I did a couple, because there's not as much opportunity, I don't think, for UK master's students, but there are loads of other resources, not just Oxford, but other local groups. I can't remember what it's called, which isn't helpful for listeners, that there's a resource that different councils within the UK might have funding for postgrad or different courses, etc. And so I missed quite a lot of funding, which I don't think Oxford are great at, because I still didn't know if I was going or not until I got my results, which were July. And so I couldn't apply for stuff because I didn't know if I needed it, because I didn't know if I was going. So that was a bit of a stress, personally for me, because it was trying to think about funding, but I didn't know if I was going. And then there's only a really small window, I got my results were the end of in July, and then you go in September. So I missed out. Also RIP on funding.
Yeah. They do provide some funding for your dissertation research. So they do kind of help along the way once you're in the program. So that was really, really nice of them.
And also pre-COVID, we did a trip to Belgium, and my college funded that for me, which is great. So colleges can be really supportive, books they'll buy for you. And then I got a travel grant for this field trip that we did, which was so helpful. And so they do provide the support that you need, which is great. And you can apply for the travel grant each term, so it's not once you've done it once you can't do it again.
Nice. So I was just wondering, so say for someone who's wanting to do this master's degree, but they might not have the funds to fund it, so if someone was applying after they received their grades, is there lots of funding opportunities that they can apply for, so that the cost of the master's degree shouldn't be an obstacle, that they shouldn't deter them to not try at all? Is that true?
Yeah, definitely. And also the Oxford website, from what I can remember, is actually a really good resource, and there's other links that they put on there as well, but they list all the funding options available, and you can kind of filter them. So some are just for women, which is amazing, and some are just for certain nationalities, or some are just for, so you can filter it depending on a certain criteria that you might fulfill. But then there are also general ones open for everyone, and you can have two different streams of funding. It's not that once you've got one you can't have any more. So you can apply for loads, if you find different categories that you fit into. But like I said, for UK people that might be wanting to, the UK government, a UK student loan, you can get a loan. It's up to £10,000 you can get a loan for a master's student in the UK. It might have changed now, it might be more. But then there's also, I'm sure if you just Google it, I can't remember what it's called, but there's there's this whole database of people that give loans for postgrad degrees, which is an amazing resource. And I used a lot. So
yeah, I also took loans as well. Nice. From the US government though. So.
I was wondering, does the £10,000 from the UK loan, does that cover? Is that enough, or or is it far from not enough? Like,
It's not enough.
it's enough.
It's yeah, no, it's not enough to cover the whole course, sadly.
Sadly.
But there's it covers like a good majority of it.
Right.
But it doesn't cover all of it.
Right. A good majority is better than
None.
a-
Yeah.
Just-
It's definitely helpful. And then you can apply for other elements.
Yeah.
yeah.
And I think also at Oxford there are some, like I was working at Oxford a little bit as well, so I was trying to earn money while I was a student. And yeah, maybe you can, there's research assistantships and things like this that we can hopefully will be helpful.
Yeah.
But it's such a shame. It's like you don't want to put the burden on, like if you're finding a hard time finding funding and then you also have to work, and it's very
there's definitely, I think there's definitely, I think the like funding offers are super helpful for like if you get your if you get your offer, you can their website is good, and so you can don't feel that if you get your offer and then you still haven't even thought about funding, don't like be deterred, like start thinking about it. But if you don't get your offer and then kind of really start thinking about it, but don't let it put you off, I wouldn't say.
Nice. We've truly just atted the government, which I love, but we love to hear it. And lastly, you both mentioned that I was wondering, does LinkedIn take a part in for things after ECM, and how does that take a part in environmental change and management? Starting with Sophia.
Yeah, so I guess, I mean, the ECM program is quite small. There's a cohort and you're kind of networked to everybody, which is really, really nice. But again, like I think if there are listeners out there with more questions or want to kind of see what different people are doing, LinkedIn is a great resource to just kind of check up and reach out.
Yeah, I've had quite a lot of people reach out to me on LinkedIn who are like thinking of applying, want to know a bit more, etc. And so, like, yeah, definitely do that. I kind of wish I'd done that. I didn't, which in hindsight was kind of dumb. I don't know why I didn't do that. But I've had loads of people message since I kind of put it on my LinkedIn that I did it, did the course. So yeah, I think it's a great way to just get more of an insight and just see what amazing things people have done since the course. Like the alumni of ECM have gone on to do pretty amazing and really inspiring things. So it's cool to kind of like be connected to them.
Talking about the alumni of ECM, what have you guys been doing after your master's degree, and like what does the future hold? Starting with Maddie.
So I, for the past year, have been working for kind of an environmental tech startup, which has been really interesting, and I've kind of learned more. It's kind of given me more of a sort of lent a hand into kind of understanding a startup environment and business environment. And I've actually just stopped, and I start a new job on Monday, which I'm really excited about, which is a sustainable development project and integrated land use project based in Gabon. So I'm going to be in London, but the project is based in Gabon, and it's kind of incorporating a lot of different elements. So it's super exciting.
Nice.
Yeah.
Fun. And you, Sophia?
And yeah, I'm just in a similar stream as Maddie. I guess I'm currently a researcher at the Earth Institute at Columbia University. We work a lot around conservation, land use management, environmental conflicts, mixture of desk research and also like partnerships and local stakeholders.
Blimey. That sounds pretty cool. I'm sure we'll at some point in the future do a podcast about where ECM can take you, and the different avenues for anyone who's thinking about what careers. Well, I know I'll definitely be interested in what careers ECM leads to. But for today, that's all that we've got time for. thank you both so much for such an interesting conversation. I'm sure, I think lots of people applying to uni, and definitely lots of students currently at uni, were very interested in this podcast, and especially with climate change being in so many, like, on so many people's minds. And but I know for me at least, I guess like lots of people know a rough idea about climate change, and but in terms of like to the detail, not so much at all. So I think, yeah, a lot of people would find this podcast really interesting. So yeah, thank you both, and thanks for the viewers for listening, whether it's on your podcasting platform or YouTube and IGTV. And yeah, we'll see you guys next time. Thank you, Sophie. Thank you, Maddie. Sophia, sorry, that was an awful.
It's okay. Thank you.
What a way to end the podcast. And I guess on that bombshell, we'll see you guys next time.